Sunday.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. Today is March 18th, 2025. This is the Kansas City Village Council meeting. Everybody, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. No guests. Sean. We should have a copy of our March 4th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Take a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
Motion by Caleb Johnson, second by Pearson. Any further discussions, corrections, or changes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Treasury report, Ms. Cassandra.
You will notice at the back of your treasurer's report, there is a Amazon listing of Amazon purchases. This month we had a higher than normal purchase amount because of the toolbox that we ordered for Jim's truck. So that's on the last page for $1,200. So Brian requested that I add the listing of Amazon purchases on there for your review. If you have any questions, let me know.
Your package may be off.
It's here, I promise.
Make a motion that we approve the treasurer's report and pay all outstanding debts.
Second. Motion by Pearson, second by Weaver. Any further discussions or comments? We'll roll call it. Weaver.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Chris Johnson.
Yes.
Sidak.
Yes.
Caleb Johnson.
Yep.
Motion carried. Nothing on engineering, Brian?
The only thing I would say is that I've been seeing on some email traffic between Casey's and Farnsworth on the sidewalk, so we're trying to get them to give us a thumbs up, and then we're still waiting on IDOT.
What if they give us the thumbs down? They're not building it on their property.
I think we bleed into it, don't we? I think the sidewalk kind of moves into a piece of their property in the latest drawings.
Oh, it does.
Mm-hmm.
I know it dumps into their entrance there, but
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a problem, but because the first thing the guy was saying was, I'm looking at it, I don't see any issue, but what is it specifically you're asking?
I was gonna say he's probably.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. Oh, and then we did get a request. I don't want to steal your thing, but we did get a request for more information on the water tower, the rates, what our current rates are, average monthly payment is. So we put that information together and sent it off. So at least there's some questions being asked from IEPA.
They actually see our thing.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Or a sign of some sort.
No longer on the pile.
Of course, if they demolish and eliminate the
Yeah.
maybe there won't be an issue.
So next would be the attorney's report. Shauna, you have anything for us?
I do not have anything tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. Administrative report.
All right, so February month 10 financials. If you look at the February core funds, don't get too worked up. We had income of $108,842, which was a little lower than what we had budgeted, and expenses of $285,449, which was way higher. But there's two major capital things in there. There was the truck for the 60, I guess it was 51,000 specifically for the truck, and then we approved 60 for kind of everything. And then there was another portion of the draw for the solar loan in there. So if you look at the adjusted amount on the next page, that brings, backing those out, that drops it to 103,759, which means we were positive by 5,000, which is not enough to cover the cash that we set aside. But this is what happens seasonally because we're not getting property tax this time of year. So the budget's always like this, that we're heavy on the income in the front half of the year and lighter in this back half. And if you look at the breakdown by general unemployment, each of the areas, you can see it unadjusted, and then you can see it adjusted. The one thing I will point out is in February, we did pay a higher rate to purchase the Illinois American Water, but the bills for February don't go out until the end of February, and so we won't see the higher rates that we're getting paid on until March. So there's going to be a little bit of a variance there. Summary page, I don't think there's a whole lot to look at. General income was below budget, gaming was down, expenses were on budget, but we also had the engineering for the sidewalk in there. Otherwise, we would have been a little bit better. Again, water was positive, but not as much as we thought it would have been because of the timing of the pricing. Sewer was good, garbage is good. MFT, not a whole lot there. Income, no expenses. TIF, same thing. We had just the income from the Illinois funds, no expenses. And BDD, we were a little bit below budget on income, but we didn't have any expenses and won't the rest of the year. And then I've got a summary page on that. I just do those summaries. So, Jim, sorry. Hey, I'm in the board meeting.
Hey, just real quick. You said Lonnie Wenzel on Beacon Lane, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just talked to Roger. I just want to confirm that was who it was.
All right, thanks.
Yep. Bye.
Okay, so then year-to-date core funds again were negative 229, but it's because of all of the capital expenditures. So if you look at the adjusted page, we had 101,849 in water, 482, 400 in sewer, and a lot of that is the lagoon loan. So we'd have almost $600,000 in total expenditures or loan expenditures that you have to back out. So we're 354, 314 to the year to date. And then you can see the year to date core funds non-adjusted and the year to date core funds adjusted by each of the individual areas. So for the year, we're clearly having enough money to cover all the capital expenditures that we put in for the year. I don't know, summary. General, we're positive. Income was better than planned. That was the property tax, the income tax, sales tax were all strong. Illinois funds was better than what we had thought of. Expenses were worse than budget. Really, the only big one was what we spent on the code book update. Water's positive. And I talk about that a little bit. I know I don't want to, again, step on water's toes here, but Jim's been running the numbers 2023 to 2024, and we're seeing an improvement in the water loss, pretty significant improvement with some of the leaks that we found and fixed. And we just found another one and fixed it. So we think that trend's going to continue. But I think we're seeing a bit of a variance there.
We just found another one.
Huh? So
And we just found another one.
maybe, I don't know, it could be sometimes it's the homes thing that's broken, not ours. So we'll see. Sewer positive, garbage positive. So again, good. MFT, we're a little bit better than what we thought on budget. I don't think we have any more expenses. Did we already process the latest engineering? Okay. Yeah, so we should just have income and no more expenses for the balance of the year. TIF, same. We should be done both on income and expenses. I don't think that number will change. in the next 2 months. And then year-to-date BDD, we've only got income. We've got 2 more months of income. March and April income, no more expenses. So. And then I've got a summary on those things. Nothing really I need to cover there. And cash, man, we've been moving all kinds of things around. Like if you look at the sheet behind it, the spreadsheet. I guess the punchline is the green column is if you take out all the stuff that we've moved from checking to Illinois funds to make sure we're getting as much interest as possible and so forth, and you can see the negative stuff that we've moved around. Everything in yellow is negative, and it's negative because we've moved stuff around and we've added capital expenditures and so forth. But the bottom line is, through 10 months of the year, we're sitting with $342,000 more in cash than we had at the end of last fiscal year. So the rest is just kind of movement, but we're almost $250,000 more cash on hand than we've had at the end of the last fiscal year. Questions on the February financials?
Did Roger take care of that? No, it was in that fund for the.
Yeah, they bought no more flags and everything, and so we have zeroed out the
veteran.
That veteran's $450. That money's been spent.
Oh, close that up.
Yeah, because it was gaining
A penny.
a penny every year.
Yeah.
No use in keeping it on the books.
Yeah.
Costs us more time to monitor it.
Yeah.
Any questions for Brian? Committee reports. Finance.
Yeah, you might have thought you were done looking at financial slides, but we're just getting started. We've got the budget that we're working on now that our tireless people have been slaving over. Brian's going to go over some of that stuff.
Okay, so you've got another packet in your deck, deck in your pack. This is a comparison of budget to budget. So and it's the same way I've presented it the last several years. So if you look at the first slide, core funds general, you'll see the 24-25 budget and then the 25-26 budget. So I've got what we budgeted income for the 24-25 and what we're budgeting for 25-26. I do the same for expenses, same for capital, and same for the variance. And then if you look at the next slide, then I kind of describe it. So income is up $19,300. Our property tax currently is flat. We don't really get good numbers until April, but there could be some upside, 3% upside or so on the property tax that I haven't built in yet, but we can build that in later. I've tried to be as realistic as possible on the Illinois funds as we roll into the new year. The big issue I don't know is if the water tower happens and we spend $500,000 out of cash to put that, and that's going to impact the income that we have for Illinois funds for the interest. So I just kind of put it at about 75% of what this year's was going to be in certain areas, just to try to accommodate some of that. State income tax was higher. And then we're also going to start doing property registrations this year, which won't be a ton of money, but it'll be some new income. On the expense side, we're $36,134 higher than last year's budget. You guys haven't approved this yet because we don't do it until the end of in April, but I put in a 3% staffing assumption. We've made a lot of moves over the last couple of years, and I think we're at a place where if we're just doing a 3% to keep up with inflation, we're good. That's the staffing assumption I've got in there. We moved all the locus and accounting into the general account rather than distributing it, just because it was kind of a pain to do that. It wasn't a bunch of money, but that's all now in the general. Police protection went up per contract, and then we had some sidewalk tree maintenance that was unbudgeted, but I put it in this year. And then the other thing I did is I added $2,000 a month for capital for buildings and grounds. And the thought there is if we wind up selling the public works property and we deplete our buildings and ground capital, that we would want to start figuring out a way to replenish that a little bit. If we decide that we're not going to do that, we can always move these capital dollars somewhere else. But that's why I put that in there. Core funds water, so you can see the comparison of the income, expenses. I left the capital numbers the same, and then the variance. Then if you look at the next slide, so income was up almost $80,000. Two things there, mostly the 15% increase, and then also the Illinois funds. On the expense side, we're up almost $50,000. That was, again, the 15% price increase on the purchases, but we're offsetting that to some degree. And again, I think it's the loss percentage that's dropping that's helping us in that regard. So we may find ourselves, especially if this new leak that we found, if the numbers hold that we're seeing now, we may have some room to not have to take price increases in the future, or we can increase the capital that we put into the tower or whatever. Right now we're putting $10,000 a month, and I'm suggesting we keep that into the tower and then another $2,500 a month into the water lines to have money to repair those. Sewer, again, this is not a whole lot of change here. It's pretty close to what last year's was. The big change is I have the solar loan interest built in to the budget. And I did not drop the electrical significantly. So there's some room in there. I think we're going to have a lot better electrical bills, and so we're going to be better. But I didn't know how far to drop them, and so I just left it in there and left it as kind of a sandbagging, I guess, to some degree. And then I left the capital the same, $50,000 a month for sewer lines and $1,000 for the lagoon and lift stations and so forth.
Did you say 50 on sewer?
Yeah, he misspoke. He meant 5,000.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was $60,000 a year, $5,000 a month. Thank you. Core funds garbage. The only real change here is the number of households can change on the income side, and the expenses as the contract goes up by whatever it goes up every year that we negotiated, and so the expense side goes up, and we make a little less each year. So then, if you look at the totals, everything. You can see what the comparison in income is, the comparison expenses. The capital's up just the $24,000 for buildings and grounds, and then the variances were a little bit more positive than we were this last year. We've got a little bit, but it's pretty close. And then if you look at the summary, income, the big drivers are the water price increase, Illinois funds, and the state income tax. On the expense side, it's the water price increase, the 3% increase for staff, the lagoon loan interest payments, and the garbage contract going up, and then the capital difference is just the buildings and grounds. Switching to MFT, we get the income assumptions from Farnsworth. They help us with that. The expenses was a little bit lower this year for the program, so you see the variance is more positive. Income, the tax increase was based upon this year's actuals, plus the Illinois funds. The scope of the work that we're doing this year is less than it has been, and plus we've been getting the competitive bids, which has driven some of that down, so that's good. If you look at the TIF side, then you can see income's up a little bit. There might be some more opportunity there. Again, Jacob and Klein helps us with that number, but in April we'll have better data, so that number could go up a little bit. The expenses, and I'll show you the breakout of that in a minute. So we're talking about spending a little bit more money. And then they make us every year, we have to do the distribution to the other taxing bodies, and since we're a taxing body, we pay ourselves back. So that's that 11,565 that we pay ourselves back, so the variance would go up to 21,454. If you look at the drivers, property tax, and Illinois funds on the income side, who knows what's going to happen with the coffee cans? So will we need to be giving back, money to them, or will we be getting tax money at all?
Have you heard anything more on that?
I know that they've talked about, continuing to try to sell it, but I don't have any more details. And then I built into the TIF $25,000 for the sidewalk project and $25,000 for the Hannah City Park District, because I know they've been talking about doing something with the building again. Doesn't mean we have to spend it. I just allocated it there. If you look at BDD, then you've got income is up a little bit. That's the sales tax pretty much driving that. Expenses way up. We'll talk about that in a second. So the variance is down. But then if you look at income, we'd up $12,500. That was the sales tax was better this year than we thought. On the expect side, again, who knows what's going to happen with the coffee can. And then the sidewalk project, I budgeted $150,000 of BDD money. So the BDD money, $150, and the TIF money, another $25, puts us at $175 for the sidewalk. They think it's going to cost closer to $150, but they asked us to put a contingency in there, so we may not spend all of it. And then I've got the grant programs at the same, $75 for commercial and $25K for residential. Technically, you guys don't have to vote on this, but we have in the past years, and the reason we've done that is because it gives us a little bit of direction, and we want to have the. It's weird. We do the appropriations ordinance, but we don't do that till in May. So we're already into the new fiscal year. So I guess what we're looking for is just a sign from you that this is directionally correct, and then it gives us the opportunity in the month of April because we've got to load it all into Locus. And we can massage the numbers a little bit if we see that the property tax is going to be higher. When we get the numbers in April, we can bump that up or whatever. But this is kind of, I guess, worst case. So I'll open it up to questions, and then if you guys are supportive of what we've planned here, then I'd like you to give us a thumbs up so we can move forward.
So planning on paying for the sidewalk completely out of BDD and TIF.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Not touching the street fund for it then.
No. But if we do the alleys,
Yeah.
that's another 160 that would be coming out of the street fund.
Yeah.
If we did all of them.
Just seal coat them as they sit.
No, they came in and gave us a bid to, I don't know what it's called, pulverize it or.
Oh, till them. Oh, okay. Till and shape them.
They said that they needed it, and you had, I think, thought that was the case.
Yeah.
So if we did all of them, I think that was 160,000 that would be coming out of streets. So in theory, we could have all the alleys done, and we've got the money to do it, and we could have the sidewalk in, and we've got the money to do that. I'm going to ask that we have another, I put it on the agenda at the end, to have another executive session to talk about the public works stuff. And then Peoria County's asked us to talk about the work camp property. And they want us to do that offline as well. So we can talk about that later. But we're queuing up to spend some bucks next year. I mean, if the water tower comes in, that could be big.
It's like that capital plan. Did you want to go through that before we?
I don't have copies.
Are we one more year of the streets, or are we done with the streets?
So the streets this year will be the last year for the streets, with the exception of the alleys.
Okay.
So MFT dollars this year will cover the final year of the streets of the 5 years. And if we want to do the alleys, it's 160 to do that. And we talked about that, I think, at the last meeting. And I think there was a feeling that because we're probably getting a better rate of doing it all at once, rather than
for the tilling of the alleys.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Rather than splitting it up over a couple of years.
Yeah, because that's a decent amount of stuff to mobilize.
And then we got $500,000 in the street fund, so why not just spend the 160 and have that done? The good news is on the lagoons. I've been doing a little research and talking to some folks about that, and it appears that the funding we're getting are tax credits, and so for that to go away would require the Congress to vote. It can't be done with an executive order, is my understanding. So I think our solar funds are a little safer than what I thought last time we talked. But I don't think they're gonna. We have a risk of them being cut, but that'll start the clock on the whatever 2-year payback or 2.5-year payback for that. The big questions are, what do we want to do with the public works? And again, we can talk about that in the executive session. And does the water tower?
Well, when that happens, we'll do it.
Yeah, it just means that we're gonna. I mean, if we do everything we're talking about here, it means we're going to spend $800,000 or $900,000 worth of.
Well, I mean, we got $500,000 sitting in the water tower fund, so we have a cushion. If it comes up, we can do it all of a sudden, and we're not pulling from anything else. That's just sitting there patiently waiting and increasing for that to happen.
Yeah,
So we can absorb any immediate cost of that happening without stress.
Just in the Illinois funds right now, at the end of February, we've got, $1.9 million.
Yeah.
So if everything hit, we'd be spending about half of that.
Well, if we do this last year, the streets and MFT covers it, and we do the alleys, then
And next year, we don't have anything to do with the MFT money. We can.
Oh yeah, we do.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying we don't have any.
Yeah, my thought would be the next round of sidewalks along 116, because there's areas that now then we can take the crappiest area we have where it's sunk this far below the curb and it's junk, and put an actual 7 foot side or 6 foot whatever match this, and doesn't need to be the next section. It may be something else somewhere else.
Yeah.
And make it and just keep working on that route to get
Yeah.
There's some of it that's all tipped up, or some, but Spot by Gills isn't bad, but there's other places in front of houses where it's just junk and stuff.
It wasn't bad.
Do what?
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, there's a spot there that needs some kind. It looks like the concrete gave way as opposed to the sign snapping on us. Because there was
That was double pole. You had the square tubing
over top of an
old round pole, and those bolts were only like this long. They were in that concrete, because I was up there that night putting up signs and everything. Matt called me.
Oh, lucky. Yeah. But yeah, that would be the next thing, and maybe we tackle the next hardest spot, which is the culvert or bridge, where the old sidewalk goes down and the other one goes across and it's narrow.
Right
and
out here.
Yeah, exactly. Be right out there and see what, But yeah, this next section of sidewalk will be something to plan for MFT the next year.
Yeah, because I still think we own that property.
Yeah, that's something the Farnsworth may have to look into a little harder on that. I know up here they thought they had plenty of right of way, so it's not a big deal. They just kind of planned it. But that one, they may have to dig in a little bit about what we actually own. And it may be just a very short stretch you do right there just to bridge that gap and get that done. And maybe takes the MFT and you do 60 feet of it or whatever just to get that fixed. And then clear sailing, some of it would be really easy to do. But,
yeah, but some of it can be really hard.
But the challenge is the little stretch we're doing now is $150,000.
Yeah,
and the MFT is only $60,000 a year.
You got 2 ADA ramps on that one. You're completely demolishing a side of the highway and putting curb and gutter in, which curb and gutter per linear foot's expensive to put in. I mean, that's.
So you're saying it's going to be cheaper to do this?
Oh yeah, that's an expensive stretch.
You're going to do just sections, not like a whole.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean that section right there with having the poor curb and gutter along the highway, all the traffic control and everything. There's a lot of expense in that. There's some sections here you could do where 60, where the money go 2 or 3 times 4 times as far easily. Or you may spend, but that section up here where I'm talking a little bridge area is going to be expensive. It'll be one of those you spend a lot of money to get like a short section fixed. But, there's some areas it'll be pretty easy to do. Spend some money to go ways on it. So.
Well, like I said, it's this is our best guess at a budget. I would guess it's probably 80 to 90% good.
And so the park district we're planning on, we have some money figured in for them because they've never come up with a full-fledged plan for the building, have they? I mean, we gave them money and then took it back because they decided.
And I think now they're debating between windows and roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know they had roof on their agenda. I was going to go to the meeting last night, but they moved it until tonight. So.
Yeah.
They need a new roof.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no end.
I was going to say I could make a
suggestion. And we've given them $25,000 before, but they didn't.
Park district.
Yeah.
But when you say new roof, does that mean the gym that's falling down?
That means
like everything included.
Yeah, that means take it off to the studs roof.
Yeah.
And redo it.
It's bad.
I don't think that 25,000 was that. It was.
No, 25,000 was.
Hold that in place.
25,000 was like a rubber sealant that would keep water out and be. Was it push it 10 or 12 years? They thought if they did that before, they'd have to do a complete pull off and put back. But our grant money's not locked in like 75-25 for commercial residential. If something came up there where they wanted to do more, they wanted to apply for a bigger grant or a project, we could always modify the grant program that we do to pull more money from it. So.
Yeah, I know there's several times me and Andrew are up there working out and, the wind's blowing your.
Yeah, I just get very nervous that pushing the limits about,
Yeah, like I said,
the money's there. We've offered it. It's like maybe you should come ask for some and just
and I
get
think
that done and safeguard it.
I think
I think they've made some good progress in terms of
Oh
how
yeah.
they've managed the.
Oh, they're always improving for sure. Yeah.
But anyway, I just put a placeholder.
Yeah.
So you need someone to make a motion to approve the budget.
Correct.
I would like to make the motion to approve the budget as written for 25-26 or fiscal year 25-26.
Second.
Motion by Chris Johnson. Second by Pearson. Any questions, concerns? Again, this is just a proposed budget draft right now. We'll have our,
Yeah, once we get it finalized and stuff, we can, and then the system, we'll share it, and then we also have the appropriations ordinance that we'll vote on, and which will have all the numbers in it. So
no questions, we'll go and roll call it. Yeah. Roll call it Pearson,
Yes.
Chris Johnson,
Yes.
Silo,
yes.
Caleb Johnson,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
Motion carried. Anything else under finance?
No, sir.
Planning and zoning?
End of report.
Sanitary sewer.
Yeah. So a couple things. Just kind of mentioned earlier, like we're pushing right now to get that lagoon done. Previously, we were worried about the funding kind of falling through. It sounds like that's a little more set in stone than it was, or that we had originally anticipated. The lagoon solar, we're finishing up the work on that right now. After we get done with it, we're going to be waiting on Ameren. They're typically pretty quick in how they get in there, so we feel like we're on track for that April 1st go live. But we're still kind of waiting on Ameren too, so things can happen, things can change. For sanitary or sewer, that is end of report. And then I'd like to start water.
Go ahead.
So as mentioned earlier, we had a water leak in the alley by a hog trough. You'll see in here, or excuse me, as Brian had mentioned, it's kind of moving the needle a little bit on our water lossage percentage. It's going to take a little bit of kind of us evaluating what the numbers look like in the future to get a concrete idea of what that looks like and how much it is impacting that change. So more to follow on that.
Just the one thing I would add is I think one of the numbers I tell you that Jim told me 2023 full calendar year, 2024 full calendar year, that with the leaks we've already fixed, that we have dropped from about a 33% loss down to about a 23% loss.
That's huge.
And we think this one we just found could potentially be one of the big contributors too. So the weekly numbers are
One of the hog trough?
Yeah. So the weekly numbers are looking good, but we want to make sure we follow it to make sure we're getting what we think we're getting.
Yeah, great. Kind of as mentioned earlier, we had that broken fire hydrant that needed repair. Attached in your packets here, you'll see there's a bid proposal from Joe Dan Court, CT. I don't really know what that CT is. Fire hydrant. For $5,175.28. After we get done talking today, I would like to get a vote on this, and I would like to submit that for a vote. But should I go ahead and start doing that? I have one or two more points to make, but
we can vote on that now.
okay. So I would like to make. Goodness gracious, I would like to. Submit that we approve the bid proposal for Joe Dan Court fire hydrant for the amount of $5,175.28 for fire hydrant repair over by the hog trough. I don't know how much more you need me to get specifics there.
I don't think it's by the hog trough.
No, those two things don't go.
Oh goodness, my notes are. I'm so sorry. Apologies, guys. Not by the hog trough.
Just Joe Dan Court fire hydrant.
Joe Dan Court fire hydrant.
To coordinate.
Repair for $5,075.
Is that your proposal then?
Yes.
Motion by Chris Johnson.
Second.
Sidak already got it.
Stealing my second.
Any questions? All right, we'll roll call it. Chris Johnson,
Yes.
Sidak,
Yes.
Caleb Johnson,
Yep.
Weaver,
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Last couple points here, I believe, is as Brian had mentioned, there's been some movement and dialogue with the IEPA for the tower loan. So he provided some new rates to the tower loan. We're just kind of waiting to see where that goes. And then I do have some water adjustment shutoffs and refunds here. So I have 22 total in shutoff. I have the
Price on shut off.
$7,489.30. 7,489.30. Level play is 0. 6 in foreclosure. The total amount in foreclosure is $432.73. 432.73. The approximate gallons sold is 1,931,104.
I don't think I've ever seen it under 2 million. Gallons.
No, you have.
And with that, I have end of report.
Buildings ground, Mr. Weaver.
Looks like we had a couple of more quotes. One from Smith and Potter.
The $1,700 on there is the trade-in. So I subtract-
10,451 minus the 1,700 is 8,751. And then there's a quote from Midwest Equipment. There's 9,799 minus the 1,700 is 8,099.
You can read my terrible writing. And I've just put a not to exceed 9,000 on there.
Roger comes preference.
I think even Midwest, it's cheaper.
Sorry.
And closer.
Yeah.
For things.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah.
Page 2. Why? So I see the Briggs 27 horsepower engine. Why is that separate from the Tiger Cat on the front? Or what is the Tiger? Is it two separate products?
Yeah.
Yeah, the front's from Smith and Potter.
Gotcha.
The Tiger Cat's a Skag brand mower.
So it's two mowers.
Correct. One on each
Where-
page.
Gotcha.
They
And
have
Bigos
to get
equipment is
two
Ferris
quotes.
brand.
Yep. Gotcha. Thank you.
Which one's better?
I would say
Commercial
the
brand
27 horsepower at a cheaper price. Well, it's a little more.
I know we've done business with Midwest before, and I think that's
Yeah.
their preference.
And they're cheaper by $700.
Just curious, do you get any warranty on repair or anything on these?
I don't know the answer to that.
Are these brand new?
Yes.
I hope so.
You'd have at least a year. Possibly 3.
So, just to talk about the funding, if you look at the spreadsheet in general, we've got $130,000 of, even after spending the money on the truck, kind of left in the general cash. So that's where we were going to spend this from. If you look at kind of long-term capital planning, this year was Jim's truck and the mower. Probably in a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, I need to look at the dump truck. And then Roger's truck after that sometime. But I don't think we have any other major equipment
We
needs.
mow quite a bit. I'm guessing our current mowers getting kind of raggedy.
Yeah, if I had asked them a couple of years ago to kind of put together a multi-year plan of what we want to buy, assuming we had excess money, and this year was Jim's truck and this mower.
Sounds good to me. I'm assuming they know what they need.
Yeah.
Why is there a not to exceed 9,000?
I don't know. I just threw a number in there, but you can make it whatever you want. I don't know if he's going to have to.
I see.
I don't know if he's going to have to spend more than the $80.99.
From
Maybe that's exactly.
delivery or whatever.
Maybe that's exactly the number. I just don't want to be in a position of maybe you'd make it 8,500 or something. But I guess I like to give us a little bit of room just in case something comes up and we don't have to come back and revote.
Make a motion that we buy a new mower from Midwest Equipment, not to exceed $9,000.
Second.
Motion by Weaver, second by Pearson.
Hang on, Weaver and made the second.
Pearson. Any further discussion? We all know what we're voting on. And then we will roll call it. Sidak?
Yes.
Caleb Johnson?
Yes.
Weaver?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Chris Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
That's all I have for buildings and grounds.
Streets and alley?
Yeah, are we,
Dr. Penn.
I know.
are we gonna go ahead and vote on doing the alleys or?
We're waiting on a second quote. And then the question I have is, is that something we have to put out publicly because of the amount that's being spent?
Anything over 25,000 has to be bid.
The big bid.
Well, I don't know that, I think just we have to put it in the paper to say that we gave everybody a fair chance, don't we?
Oh yeah, we'd have to advertise for that. Yeah.
But he's waiting on another quote, and then we'll
From UCM?
he talked to UCM and Tazewell.
Tazewell County Asphalt.
Those are the two, I think.
So who gave the quote that Tazewell County Asphalt?
Porter Brothers.
Oh, Porter Brothers. Gotcha.
But UCM was the other bidder.
Yeah. I know he's talked to them, and I don't know whether that they've turned in the bid or not. But I know we're waiting on Tazewell County and UCM if they want to. And I think Tazewell County has been out to look at it, and we definitely think they're going to give us a number.
Advance wasn't interested in coming down.
I'm sorry?
Advance.
I don't know.
Oh. What's the other one? Dunn? That does a lot of tilling. Is that the name of them? I don't know. I think they might be in a Springfield. I don't know if they come up for that or not.
Anything else, Ron?
That's it.
Okay. CEDC, Mr. Sidak?
Nothing to report.
Under administration, Peoria County reported 7 incidents from March 10th to March 16th. Obstruction in the roadway, disorderly conduct, other disorderly conduct, stand by to keep the peace, motorist assist, county fire, and reckless driver.
Those were all Eric. That's what he's not.
That's
That's
about right.
it for administration, but I need to wait. So, someone needs to get something to drink or get some coffee now. It'll be just a minute.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Statement of economic interest?
Yeah.
So would I put that as tilling and seal coating? Is that
Those
what
are two
it's
different things.
technically called for the alleys? I mean, or is there another term I need to be?
Resurfacing.
That's the old name. I just keep hearing tilling and seal coating, and I'm like, what is it that we're actually doing?
Tearing up the alleys.
I know.
Denise, is there anything more you need to talk about on statement of economic
Oh,
interest?
yes. Well, I put the end of March, but they need to be in by the end of April, but I would like them in. And you know what? This gentleman right here has got it done, so you can get it done.
You'll.
Yes, thank you.
I just got mine done in like December.
Oh, I
My
know.
last
You
one.
have to
You
do
have
it
to do the one
again.
for the election.
I know.
And
I know.
you should have gotten an email. From
I did.
Roy.
It's life. I'm bad. I promise.
No,
I will
you
get
can.
into it.
It says you have until the end of the
I actually looked at it today and I marked it in my email. I just.
And it really, I mean, for me, it takes 5 minutes,
Well,
but
that you
I don't have
is
anything,
Well, it wasn't easy for me to get done last year because the switch between you and me, everything was registered to Ryan. I think we got it figured out.
yeah.
But
Yeah, as long as you got the email, all you could do is
What?
click on that and it'll be
well,
on
that's
your-
what it did last year. I clicked on it and it said, "Hey
Well, but
Ryan,
it-
welcome back."
did
And I'm
it-
like, "Not
okay.
Ryan."
Does it have your username at the
I
bottom?
think we got it fixed last year, so
Okay,
I'll
at the
just
bottom of the page, we'll have your user login. Just
Yeah.
make sure it says yours.
got it.
Okay.
So, under other business, we have some stuff we need to discuss in an executive session. Everybody is more than welcome to stay if you want to. Sandra, you can go.
Remember to convert and then restart.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So, at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll make the motion. Good night.
Okay, guys. Did you leave that
A
on?
motion by Chris Johnson, second by Sidak. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Nays? Motion carries. So we will temporarily adjourn the regular board meeting at 6:46 p.m.
Shauna, we have to stop recording and close out the meeting and then restart. In order to get our recording right and have the executive session separate, I've got to stop the meeting. So you'll have to call back in.
Okay.